It's Wednesday, the 11th of June. Welcome to the PDB Afternoon Bulletin. I'm Mike Baker, your eyes and ears on the world stage. All right, let's get briefed. We'll start things off with an update on the immigration riots popping up around the U.S. and how far-left nonprofit groups are helping fuel the ongoing chaos. Well, when you let 12 to 20 million people into the country with essentially an open border policy, and most aren't invested in the system, you should expect some pushback when you try to send them home. Not to mention the professional activists and performance artists always looking for a chance to throw a brick or spray paint a police car. And, of course, the anarchists disguised as nonprofit organizations, the wealthy socialists, and the progressive trust fund kids, don't forget them, who spend their days wallowing in self-righteousness and angst. It's a genuine recipe for chaos, which is what we've got now. All right, later in the show, Beijing sends 2 aircraft carriers into the Pacific Ocean beyond Japan for the first time in a major demonstration of China's expanding naval ambitions. But first, today's afternoon spotlight. We've been keeping a keen eye on the behind-the-scenes support for the current unrest gripping Los Angeles, which is now spreading to cities across the country. As we discussed on Monday's PDB, these anti-ICE demonstrations are, well, far from organic, with millions of dollars being pumped into organizing these events by left-wing nonprofits, socialist billionaires, and even foreign interests that are connected to the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP. In L.A., where protests have continued every night since this past weekend's riots, leftist nonprofits and radical Marxist groups are now handing out what they have branded as, quote, earmuffs in case the kids are listening, what they've branded fuck ICE packages to protesters, which include goggles, face masks, gloves, and a phone number for, quote, jail support. That's according to an exclusive report from the New York Post. Those packages have been put together and distributed by a nonprofit called Operation Healthy Hearts. Oh, well, that sounds innocent, doesn't it? Which is, in theory, a local homeless outreach group focused on food drives in LA's Skid Row. Oh, but more recently, they've waded into radical political activism, posting anti-law enforcement rhetoric on social media. Separately, an unidentified group was seen Tuesday handing out a truckload of face shields and other riot gear to protesters in downtown L.A. Another nonprofit called the L.A. Poverty Department, which operates the Skid Row History Museum and Archive, perhaps you visited, allowed a separate unidentified organization to use their building to distribute personal protective equipment packages to protesters. These packages included anarchist pamphlets that advocate taking, quote, direct action against authorities, instructing demonstrators to torch police cars, burn down police precincts, and target banks and ATMs. Well, none of those things sound mostly peaceful. A representative for the L.A. Poverty Department told the Post, quote, the federal government cut off our funding for other reasons, so we really have nothing left to lose, end quote. Oh, they're just going to hold their breath until they turn blue and then maybe torch a police precinct. An assortment of other left-wing nonprofits are also getting involved in the action. One notable organization is the Mutual Aid Los Angeles Network, which coordinates with groups such as Operation Healthy Hearts and has a history of radical activism, including organizing anti-Israel protests. As we discussed earlier this week, a fixture of the anti-ICE riots has also been the Party for Socialism and Liberation, the PSL. They're a Marxist group funded in part by billionaire socialist Neville Singham, whose wife happens to run the left-wing activist group Code Pink. Singham's funding networks also have direct ties to China's Central Communist Party. Those are connections that are well documented in past investigative journalism done by none other than the New York Times. The contagion is now spreading to communities throughout the country, with anti-ICE demonstrations cropping up since Monday in multiple cities, including New York, Boston, Chicago, Dallas, Austin, Atlanta, and Denver. Like the riots in L.A., protests in Austin on Monday evening turned similarly chaotic and violent. 3 Austin police officers were injured after being pelted with very large rocks thrown by rioters. A 4th officer suffered a shoulder injury while conducting an arrest as another demonstrator spit on him. That's mostly peaceful, too. At one point, police had to use tear gas to disperse the crowd, and the night ended with at least 13 arrests. In New York City, more than 80 people were arrested Tuesday evening during anti-ICE protests in Lower Manhattan that attracted a crowd of thousands. The large-scale demonstration also turned violent at times, with demonstrators throwing glass bottles and other projectiles at police officers. Of the 86 protesters arrested, 34 have been charged with various crimes, including assault, resisting arrest, and reckless endangerment. On Monday and Tuesday, protests also broke out across the greater Denver metropolitan area. The Denver branch of the aforementioned Party for Socialism and Liberation, well, of course Denver has a PSL branch, organized a demonstration on Monday outside the ICE detention center in Aurora. That's alongside members of the local nonprofit group Casa de Paz, which is connected with migrant activism in the Aurora area. On Tuesday, a protest dubbed, quote, ICE Out, descended into chaos outside the Colorado state capitol. Police were forced to use smoke and pepper balls to disperse the crowd, and 17 arrests were made for assaulting officers, vandalism, and obstruction, according to an Axios report. That's just a sampling of the unrest around the country, and more demonstrations are being prepared for the coming days. We should note that this Saturday, the 14th of June, could serve as a flashpoint for the current wave of discontent. An organization called Indivisible, that's a nonprofit coalition of progressive political action groups, I'll bet they're fun at parties, is organizing thousands of protests across the country for that date in opposition to a military parade being held on Saturday in Washington, D.C., for the U.S. Army's 250th anniversary and also for Flag Day. The organizers have dubbed the planned June 14th protests the, quote, No King's National Day of Mobilizations, which is not the catchiest of titles, because organizers apparently hate the idea of a parade and, of course, naturally hate Flag Day. The fact that June 14th is also President Trump's birthday is what they're pinning their protest on, implying that the parade is for Trump rather than to celebrate the U.S. Army's 250th anniversary. Now, given the interconnected network of nonprofits and radical groups helping to organize and fuel the current unrest nationwide and the deep pockets of some of their donors, you can expect the demonstrations will only continue to escalate until, of course, they get bored and retreat to a park somewhere to play hacky sack and figure out what to hate next. All right, just a quick reminder before we go to break. The President's Daily Brief is now on Facebook. Head on over to facebook.com/President's Daily Brief to catch the latest headlines, analysis, and maybe even a little behind-the-scenes action from the team. Give us a follow and stay in the loop. You definitely don't want to be out of the loop. No, in the loop is where it's at. All right, coming up next, Beijing sends 2 aircraft carriers into the Pacific Ocean for the first time in a major flex of China's growing military reach. I'll be right back. Hey, Mike Baker here. Now, if you own a handgun, well, you've likely faced a tough choice, right? Keep it locked up and safe, or accessible but unsecured. Now, StopBox USA offers a solution with the StopBox Pro. It's mechanical and keyless and is designed for fast, secure access without batteries or electronics. It provides quick access when every second counts. It's made in the USA. It's TSA compliant for secure travel, and it's part of a full line of innovative gear, including vehicle safes and chamber locks. For a limited time only, our listeners get 10% off the entire order when you use the code PDB. Right now, StopBox is running a deal on their most popular bundle. That's the 2-pack, which saves you over 30% and comes with free accessories and shipping. Yes, I said free shipping. That's 10% off and a big bundle discount when you use code PDB at StopBoxUSA.com. Discover a better way to balance security and readiness with StopBox. Hey, Mike Baker here. Let me take just a few seconds of your time, if I could, to talk about your personal finances and your hard-earned savings and how to protect them. Look, did you know that in the last 12 months, gold's value has jumped 30%? And central banks, well, they're buying gold in record amounts. Because with the usual ups and downs in the stock market and general uncertainty over the global economy and trade wars and, of course, those pesky BRICS nations pushing hard to replace the U.S. dollar, it's no wonder that thousands of Americans are turning to Birch Gold Group, because in times of uncertainty, gold can offer peace of mind. Birch Gold makes it easy to convert your IRA or your 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. Or, like a lot of folks, you can just buy gold to store at home. Just text PDB to 989-898, and Birch Gold will send you a free information kit on gold. There's no obligations, just useful information. With an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, take control of protecting your savings today. Text PDB to the number 989-898. Welcome back to the Afternoon Bulletin. In a display of Beijing's expanding naval ambitions, China, for the first time, recently sailed both of its aircraft carriers into the Pacific Ocean for joint exercises. It's an unmistakable signal of the CCP's intent to further assert its military footprint. Japan's defense minister confirmed to reporters Monday that the two carriers were spotted east of Iwo Jima, about 750 miles south of Tokyo, conducting takeoffs and landings of fighter jets in what he called an unprecedented maneuver. Tokyo is now closely tracking the ongoing operation and has lodged a formal protest with the Chinese embassy, well, that should do it, following one of the carriers' encroachment into Japan's exclusive economic zone, though it did not violate territorial waters. The so-called First Island chain, which runs from Japan down through Taiwan and the Philippines, has long served as a geographic constraint on China's naval power projection. By pushing past it, China is putting new pressure on Japan, Taiwan, and the U.S., which would have to navigate these contested waters in any future conflict in the Indo-Pacific. China's defense ministry insisted the operation was lawful, describing it as a routine test of, quote, far seas protection and joint combat readiness. CCP officials insisted it was not aimed at any specific country. But Taiwanese officials weren't buying it. Taipei's defense chief on Wednesday called the drills a clear sign of China's, quote, expansionist intent, even as he sought to reassure the public that Taiwan had a, quote, full grasp of the carrier's movements. As regular PDB listeners will recall, China has long been escalating its maritime presence in the East and South China Seas. Naval patrols, Coast Guard vessels, and fishing fleets with suspiciously tight coordination to Beijing have all become more frequent. Backing up that blue water ambition is a growing carrier fleet. In addition to its two carriers, a third is currently undergoing sea trials and boasts electromagnetic catapults similar to those on U.S. supercarriers. A fourth carrier is already under construction. Now, to be clear, China's carrier fleet remains significantly less capable than America's 11 nuclear-powered carriers. But the pace of China's naval modernization and its willingness to flex its power has regional defense officials taking notice. China far outpaces the U.S. and allies in terms of shipbuilding. Now, in response to China's efforts, Tokyo has launched its own countermeasures, converting two helicopter destroyers into aircraft carriers capable of launching F-35B stealth fighters, the first such vessels that Japan has operated since World War II. Taiwan, meanwhile, remains in the crosshairs. It's ramping up weapons purchases and modernizing its military, acutely aware that Beijing's war games often function as dry runs for something far more serious. Beijing's latest maneuver signals a shift to carving out a new status quo in the Indo-Pacific, one where U.S. and allied forces could find themselves navigating contested waters in any future crisis. And that, my friends, is the PDB Afternoon Bulletin for Wednesday, the 11th of June. Now, if you have any questions or comments, please reach out to me at pdb@thefirsttv.com. Of course, to listen to the show ad-free, you can do that. Just become a premium member of the President's Daily Brief by visiting pdbpremium.com. And if you get a chance, take a minute out of your busy day to stop by our YouTube channel. That's conveniently located at the President's Daily Brief. As YouTube channels go, well, it's the cat's pajamas. I'm Mike Baker, and I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, stay informed, stay safe, stay cool. Hey, Mike Baker here. Now, as you know, I am known far and wide as a real fashion icon. So, let me give you the benefit of my extensive style knowledge and tell you about a great company. And that company is called True Classic. Now, True Classic goes beyond fit and fabric. Their mission is to help men show up with confidence and purpose, and that's important. Their clothing is designed to fit well, feel great, and stay affordable, so men can look sharp without overspending, right? What truly sets True Classic apart is the intention behind the brand. Now, from supporting underserved communities to helping men feel more confident in their daily lives and even bringing humor to their messaging, they lead with purpose. Each piece is tailored where it matters and relaxed where it counts, offering a clean, comfortable fit that works for everyday life. There's no stiff fabric, nobody wants that. There's no bunching, you don't want bunching, and just dependable quality and design. I've got a bunch of their t-shirts and sweatpants, and they are terrific. They fit great, they look great. Anyway, say goodbye to overpriced designer labels and throw away fast fashion. True Classic is built for comfort, built to last, and built to give back. Find them at Target, at Costco, or visit trueclassic.com/PDB to learn more and explore their collection. Hey, thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and leave a comment, a really positive, nice, and kind comment. That would be appreciated. And if you're not already subscribed to our channel, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our daily updates.